Hello, brave, beautiful, beloved soul friends. Welcome to another Conversations with Kristin, that beautiful time of your day where you explore the unconscious mind from the inside out. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here, and thank you for being exactly you. Today, I would like to explore the neurobiological core causalities of skin picking or dermatillomania and hair pulling or trichotillomania. There is a very valid neurobiological explanation for these occurrences, and from that space of renewed understanding, greater potentials for healing are then opened up. And so my intention with this video is to share neurobiological insights regarding the core causalities of these battles so that the battles and the struggles have two specific things. One, validation. There is a neurobiological explanation for these experiences, and validating the experiences from that perspective alone can help bring comfort and healing. And my second purpose for this video is to bring healing hope, because once the roots and the core causalities of these battles are identified, healing potentials open up where they weren't there before. When we look at the surface stuff, we can't heal it because the surface stuff isn't what's causing it. There's always something deeper that's happening. And once we get to the roots of what's creating the battles, once we discover the truth about the science of what's provoking these things, the core causalities neurobiologically, then healing may be effectively approached. There is absolutely no such thing in the universe as an incurable mental health battle. It simply does not exist. There is a neurobiological explanation for every single internal battle, and once we pinpoint that particular, then neural networks generating the struggles can be rewired. Little hair in my eye. and the entire elements of personal life experience can transform from the inside out. So without further ado, let's dive into these healing journey topics together. Thank you again for being here, beloved soul friends, and thank you for being you. The core causality of dermatillomania and trichotillomania, or skin picking and hair pulling types of chronic battles, involves activation of implicit procedural memories that hold disintegrated data stemming from an underlying unfulfilled attachment need. So let's take this step by step and kind of break down what the heck I just said so you can have some neurobiological insights regarding the truth about these experiences. So first, let's look at memories. Most of our memories are unconscious. There's memories that we know about, like if you go to the grocery store and you're like, okay, I've got this mental list in my mind. I need some milk, I need some honey, I need some eggs. That list comes from a declarative explicit memory. It's a conscious memory. And then while you're at the grocery store shopping for your milk, honey, and eggs, you go through and you run into someone you know and you talk about what's been going on. You're like, yeah, last week I went to the circus and they had all these really amazing acts and it was really cool and I ran into your cousin. Like, what the heck? That's an example of an explicit autobiographical or episodic memory, another kind of conscious memory. But the majority of our memories are actually unconscious. They're implicit memories. So the majority of our memories are unconscious. And that means that we can't get to them directly. You can't get to an unconscious memory by trying to get there. Conscious memories, you're like, okay, let me think. What did I do last week? And when you put the intention towards getting there, you can reach into your memories and kind of grab little pieces and then you know about it. But you can't do that with unconscious memories. And the second thing about unconscious memories is you don't know when they are being activated. When there's a conscious memory being activated, then you're aware of it. It's within your awareness. You're conscious of that information igniting. So you got this like conscious memory, and then it gets lit up and you're like, oh, okay, I observe that there's this memory happening. But it doesn't work like that with unconscious memories. When unconscious memories are activated, you don't know that they're contributing to your experience. And so while we move through life, every single moment actually holds activation of unconscious memory data. The purpose of memory systems, neurobiologically speaking, is to provide navigation while moving through life. And so memory systems don't actually care about storing the past. That's not why memories exist. And this is really important for us to understand while exploring any type of mental health battle. And so the purpose of memory systems is not about storing the past. Memory systems, the purpose neurobiologically, is to help us navigate through our life in the immediate now and the potentials of the nows to come. And so the way that we understand things and move about our moments is all coming from unconscious memory system activation, but we don't know about it. So our ability to recognize things and do things comes from unconscious memory activation. When you move through life and you're brushing your teeth, for example, your ability to look at a toothbrush, understand that it is a toothbrush, and go through an instinctive process of picking up the toothbrush, putting on toothpaste, putting a little water on it, and then putting it in your mouth and going through this motion in approximately that order. Maybe you put the water on and then you put the paste on. Depending on the wiring of your implicit procedural memories. But your ability to know these things, to recognize things and move through these everyday processes, all of that comes from unconscious implicit memories. And so the purpose of memories is to help us navigate through life. And so our life navigation then depends on the well-being of our unconscious memory system data. The other thing that we really need to understand about memories are that they impact our choices and our decision making. And so neuroscience actually discovered that 80% of decision making directly stems from automated unconscious activations of implicit procedural memories. And so if you open up the refrigerator and you go to choose a snack, at most, at best, if everything in your brain is working at its optimal capacities, only 20% of the way you make that choice will be conscious. 80% of every decision, moment by moment, directly comes from unconscious implicit procedural memories. Implicit procedural memories hold action patterns, styles of approach and avoidance, along with survival responses. And so in every moment, we're constantly approaching or avoiding something in our minds and or with our bodies. And so our choices about, like if you're walking from point A to point B, whether you choose to go like this or whether you choose to go like this, is an action pattern, and 80% of how you choose that comes from your implicit procedural memories. The way you choose to go about things comes from these implicit procedural memories. And so we're constantly approaching or avoiding something. If you walk past a piece of chocolate cake on the counter, then you either approach it and you have a bite, or you avoid it and you keep going. If you get a phone call from somebody, you either approach it and you answer it, or you avoid it and you ignore it. There's always some kind of approach or avoidance happening in our moment-by-moment decisions. And 80% of how we go through these moments comes from implicit procedural memories. They hold action patterns of approaching and avoiding stuff, and they also hold different types of survival responses. Okay, so memory systems, they're all about associations. It's not these categorical black and white linear things. It's all about energetic vibrational frequencies having different types of connections through associations. Memory systems are what help us navigate our moments, and 80% of our decision making, big and small, comes from implicit procedural memories. Okay? You with me so far? So from this space of understanding, we're going to discover the neurobiological core causalities of dermatillomania and trichotillomania. So thank you so much for being here, soul friends. You cannot find this information on Google, and I'm really grateful for the chance to share it because it's important to have validation and healing hope from a neurobiological backdrop. It's so powerful. It's a very, very beautiful, powerful place to be. So thank you again for being here, and thank you for being you. And the core causality of most, if not all, internal battles stems from implicit memories with disintegrated data being activated and contributing to personal life experience from the unconscious mind. And this memory data in our implicit memories has an underlying unfulfilled attachment need. And so we've got these attachment systems with all these different internal needs, and then experiential elements within our moment become processed kind of like on top of that into pieces of memory data, and different types of associations are made. And memories, of course, are about navigating through life. And so a lot of times, memory data creates certain protocols based on attachment need fulfillment, because this is the baseline of well-being and helps us navigate through our life. So attachment system needs, for example, are a felt sense of feeling seen, loved, treasured, celebrated, and appreciated, a felt sense of safety, security, protection, and provision, a felt sense of connection, collaborative community, vulnerable closeness, and support, a felt sense of recognition and respect and embrace, directional guidance, and opportunistic space. And the felt sense is important. It's not about what obviously happens, it's about how it makes our inner being feel. And that's what determines the well-being of attachment systems. It depends on how our inner self actually feels within that moment of experience. As we move through life, every single moment is being processed into memory data. The moment that you came out of your mother's womb, I was a little baby screaming and crying in that hospital room or wherever you were born, to last week while you were sleeping. Every moment of our existence is categorized in some capacity within implicit memories. And the well-being of attachment systems within individual moments determines how effectively memory data gets processed. Okay, and so if there are moments where there's not a felt sense of safety, for example, then experiential elements of that moment get processed in and become memory data in a way that has too many associations, which is called overcoupling, or there's not enough associations, which is called undercoupling. And then because this memory data isn't able to effectively communicate, there's all these different kinds of things that happen as it tries to find a way to fulfill unfulfilled attachment needs or survive the lack of attachment need fulfillment. Does that make sense? You guys with me? So memory systems help us navigate life. Life requires attachment need fulfillment. That's what helps us survive and thrive. And you can explore more about attachment systems in some of my other videos. I dive into some of the more particulars about that. But attachment need well-being is super mega ultra important for this human experience. long story short. And so our memory systems are constantly trying to help us fulfill these attachment needs. And so if there's needs here that are not being met, memory data goes through and creates these vibrational messages regarding how to fulfill unfulfilled attachment needs, or how to survive the attachment needs not being fulfilled. And that's where dermatillomania and trichotillomania start to come into play. What's happening is there's an underlying unfulfilled attachment need, and then memory data has created these action pattern protocols to try and help fulfill a need or survive the lack of fulfillment. Okay, so 80% of decision making, everyday choices big and small, come from implicit procedural memories. And so when someone starts to pull at their hair, or when someone starts to pick at their skin, it's not happening consciously. Instead, there's an unconscious, implicit procedural memory being activated beyond awareness that is producing a bodily action pattern as memory system data attempts to fulfill an attachment need or survive the lack of fulfillment. So, for example, if there's an underlying attachment need where there is not a felt sense of safety, and then there's associated memory data that's kind of made these different associations in a particular way, it's trying to fulfill that need. There could be an action pattern protocol and an implicit procedural memory that says, okay, I don't feel safe, so I pick at my skin, and it helps me feel safe and survive the feeling of not being safe. Does that make sense? There's an underlying unfulfilled attachment need of some sort. Let's take the safety as one example. There's not a felt sense of safety, and the unconscious mind-body knows that. It has some kind of unconscious awareness of it. It's not a conscious awareness, but there's some kind of instinctive survival understanding inside of the neurobiological energetic flows. So there's an understanding, I need to feel safe, but I don't feel safe. And again, this is unconscious. You're not consciously thinking, oh my God, I'm not safe. It's not what's happening. It's happening unconsciously, but some portion of the body has a message inside of it that says, I don't feel safe, okay? And so that's going on here. And then because of that, memory data is like, hi, what's up? I'm helping everything navigate through life. I'm noticing that a part of my body doesn't feel safe. So let me go through my protocols and see what information I can grab regarding how to help feel safe in this moment, because that's my purpose. I'm memory data and I help everything navigate through life. And I'm noticing a need, so I'm going to see what I can do to fill that need based on the data that I have. So memory system's like, what's up? I'm going to scroll through my data, and then it finds this action pattern protocol that says, okay, when you don't feel safe, I move the hands and I pick at the skin, and then it helps survive that feeling of unsafety, and or it helps create some sense of safety. And then the hands just start doing the picking, or whatever it is, picking, hair pulling, whatever kind of, pattern it is. And the feeling of not being safe is something that is able to be survived or temporarily relieved. So dermatillomania, or skin picking, and trichotillomania, or hair pulling, are happening because there's an implicit procedural memory with a protocol, an action pattern that says, when this attachment need is not fulfilled, I do this, and then I survive this not being met. Okay? Does that make sense to you, beloved soul friends? The root causality, neurobiologically speaking, of dermatillomania and trichotillomania are implicit procedural memories that have created action patterns of approach, avoidance, survival response tendencies. You're approaching hair pulling, you're approaching skin picking. It's a survival response. It's an implicit memory. It's a type of muscle memory, basically. Your body says, this is what I do when I don't feel this thing that I need to feel. a part of the body doesn't feel safe, implicit action pattern goes about these processes and it helps the unconscious self survive. Okay, so dermatillomania, trichotillomania, neurobiological core causalities are activation of unconscious implicit procedural memories, holding action patterns of these habits because of an underlying unfulfilled attachment need. Okay, so very, very valid to have these types of experiences. There's a neuroscientific explanation for them. And from that space of understanding, there's more opportunities for healing because meeting the underlying unfulfilled attachment need in a way that generates new implicit memories helps to override the data that's causing the battles. And then healing resolution is always 100% of the time unconditionally possible. Thank you so much for joining me for Conversations with Kristin. It has been a blessed honor to connect with you, beloved soul friends, in this beautiful healing journey day. If you would ever like to connect one-on-one through a consciousness consulting call, I would be absolutely honored to serve as a healing journey guide so that you have all of the power, all of the insights and clarity and guidance and empowerment you need to rewire your neurobiology, liberate your parts of consciousness, and transform your entire life experience from the inside out. Understanding and healing the unconscious mind is my specialty, and I would be honored to share my services to uplift you into the fullness of all that you can be. You can schedule a one-on-one session with me at kristinwindsor.com. And on that page, you can also find out a little bit more about who I am and what I do. I've also created a series of free gifts for you, beloved soul friends. Gifts of love from my heart to yours, because I want you to have infinite power in your everyday healing journey of life. You always have power to transform the unfolding storybook of your life. You always have power to transform everything that's happening from the inside out. You always have power to liberate yourself. You always have power within your identity and your experience. And it all comes from how we influence the neurobiological wiring of our unconscious mind. And so I've created a series of free gifts that can help you guys with your healing journey. You can explore all of those magics at kristinwindsor.com/gifts. And both of those links are also here in the video description below. Thank you so much for sharing this sacred healing time with me. It's been a blessed honor to connect with you today, beloved soul friends. Thank you for being you, and thank you for being here. Namaste. The love and light within me see and honor the love and light within you. Have a beautiful and blessed day, beloved soul friends. I will see you next time. And if you liked hanging out, or if you learned something new, or if you just want to spread a little overall positivity in the world, I invite you to hit the like and subscribe button. I really appreciate your support on my channel as I share my healing journey messages. Blessings to you, soul friends. Have a wonderful day.